Good evening, everybody. Good to see you all here tonight. Thank you for making it out once again on this beautiful Sunday evening. Let's stand together, grab a songbook, sing them over again to me. Wonderful Words of Life, song number 270. Wonderful Words of Life, standing if you're able. Wonderful Words of Life. Lift your voices together on that first verse. Sing them over again to me. Wonderful words of life. Let me more of their beauty see. Wonderful words of life. Words of life and beauty. Teach me faith and duty. Beautiful words, wonderful words. Wonderful words of life, beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words. On that third, sweetly echo the gospel call, wonderful words of life. Offer pardon and peace to all, wonderful words of life. Jesus only Savior, sanctified forever. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life. Powerful singing, you may be seated.
Amen. Well, welcome to our missions trip recap. Thanks for coming out. And up here we have a bunch of the baskets. We'll explain those as we go along. And these are the ones that are available for purchase after the service, if you so choose. If you don't want to, that's completely fine. Please don't feel pressure. And we're excited. So this is kind of how the service is going to go. I'm going to walk you through a PowerPoint of pictures. We'll just walk you through the schedule of events. That way you kind of have an idea of what we're talking about as we talk about it, how the trip went. And then after that, then we'll have testimonies. Brother Nathan's going to come up and give his testimony first, then Micah, then Andrew, then Jude, then Mrs. Kim, and then my wife will do testimonies. After the testimony time, we've got a video that we're going to play of video clips. So in the PowerPoint, we only have pictures, and then in the video, we only have video clips. And to show you just some of the video clips of some of the services we were in, some of the different events and different things we did. There's some video of the baptism service that I'll talk about here in a second. And so just lots of neat things. And then after that, I will speak with the few minutes that we have left. And I have a couple thoughts to share with you. And so looking forward to that. So let's jump right into the PowerPoint. Honduras Visionary Trip 2026. The first day, of course, was travel day. We just have a couple pictures here. That's the airport when we're leaving. And I think the second one is in Honduras, correct? And then also day one, we unloaded the food bags and got those ready to go. And so we also unloaded. So we unloaded the ones that we did, and then all the food bags for the group that was coming after us as well. So we probably unloaded several hundred food bags, and they're unloading them out of the truck into the other truck to get ready for the next day. And so we did that. And then day two, we went to the schools. And that's Brother Nathan with some of the kids. And then that's me teaching the kids. And it's interesting to do because they all speak Spanish, and so you're speaking through an interpreter. And I've done it several times, and so I'm starting to sort of get the hang of it. And but then at the next, that's passing out food bags. Then at that first school, so the food bags went to the two schools that we went to. We gave them to each of the kids got a food bag at the two different schools we were at. There's some of us playing on the playground with the kids. And then this is Mrs. Kim Peterson teaching. She did a much better job than I did, I'm just telling you. And she did a tremendous job teaching the class. And they were just rapt attention. And so she did a great job with that. This is the second school. They're lined up to get the food bags. And there we are passing them out. And of course, you can see the beautiful scenery in the background. It was like that everywhere we went. And this is the second school group. And the teacher, I think it's the one that's all the way on the right in front of Mrs. Kim in the black. She is opening tremendous doors for them in the school system. And she got them into another school that they're working in. And then she got transferred to this school. And so she's got them in this school now, and then she's opening doors with the whole area, getting them availability to get in. They literally have more opportunities to be in schools right now than they have the manpower to get into the schools. And when they go in, they get to. It's not like schools here in America. They can teach and preach to the different classes, which is super awesome. Day 2, the last part of the day, we went to Maha Verde and for discipleship and service. These are the cows on the way up there. They're more like the cows in India. They've got the hump on the back, not like our American cows. Some of the scenery that we went by on the way up there, literally you can't tell, but outside of the window of the van is about a 300-foot cliff, just straight down. And literally, like, we had to put more people in the van and put all the heavy people in the back so the van had traction to get up the mountain. Like, we were off-roading. It was a goat trail, basically. Not quite, but almost. And so pretty intense, but lots of fun. There's the kids and some of the adults before the service, and of course, Jude's all in the middle of everything. And this is during discipleship, and Brother Ryan Cillier is how you say his last name, right? Brother Ryan Cillier. He is the one for Final Frontiers that is heading up the Honduras ministry now. He and his wife moved down there at the beginning of this year and are doing a tremendous job down there. And he speaks Spanish fluently, and so he's having discipleship, and that's a down day for them. They were missing several people there in their discipleship class, but still had, I think, 10 or 12 adults there for discipleship. And then they had us come up and sing before the service. And then I got to preach that night, and then there's my wife with all the different ladies from the service there. And that's the view from the property where the church is on. That's looking out away from the church. And wouldn't that be a pretty view to have off of our parking lot? And then day number 3 was when we did our souvenir shopping in Valle de Angeles. And so lots of riding in the back of the truck, which is completely legal there, unlike here. And this is the meal that we had while we were there in the valley. Just some really good food at the restaurant we went to. We didn't get any pictures of the shopping. We were too busy shopping. And day 3, soul winning and church service in Suyapa. So day 3 is Saturday, and a Saturday evening went to a church service in Suyapa. And that's where we went and did door knocking first. And this was one of the kids from the neighborhood there. And he just came out and met us. He goes to the feeding center there. And he went door knocking with us. And that's the Catholic church in the town. And so he went up and put a gospel tract on the Catholic church. And so we let him. And because they need Jesus too. And so that's there was bats in the church. And so we had to chase the bats out of the service before they could have service. And so that's some of the kids helping to chase the bats out. They thought it was great. And Brother Nathan preached that service and did a tremendous job. And it was a challenge preaching, because it is, if you've never done it, like, you get going on a thought, but then you have to stop like halfway through your thought so that they can translate, and then you finish. And it just takes a lot of practice to do that. That's Andrew. So that little boy right there, when we went several years ago in 2023, at Suyapa, that little boy who was 3 years younger, he came and crawled up on Andrew's lap. We have pictures of it from that trip, and he was just kind of sprawled out on Andrew's lap. Andrew's like, "What do I do?" But the same boy was there, and so he got another picture with that little boy who is much bigger now. And that's my wife and I with Pastor Wilson and his wife. And he's the pastor that does the church service, or helps with the church service in Suyapa. He doesn't do the service, but he and people from his church come and help with that service. And then that's Nathan with, I do not remember the gentleman's name, and he's an older man. I think he was 86 years old. And he's one of the original church members there when they started the church in Suyapa. He can't read, but he can quote the Bible by chapters. He just has memorized chapters of the Bible. And so just a really neat guy to get to meet him and see how God has worked in his life. And the Suyapa is a very, very poor community, just very, very low education-wise. And so very common for the people in that community to not be able to read. And so just a neat thing there. And then day 4, which was Sunday, we had church in Tegucigalpa, and that's Pastor Carlos, the pastor of the church there, and I got to preach at that church service also. That's a picture of me preaching. And then that's the restaurant we went to afterwards, and it looked like it belonged in like a Chicago alley. The food was tremendous, but literally you went up and rang the doorbell, and they opened like this little window in the door, and then they closed it and let you in. I'm not sure who they're trying to keep out. But there was, like, by the time we got our group in there, which there was probably 20 of us, maybe 15, 20 of us, something like that. Probably closer to 15 of us. And by the time we got all of us in there, there basically wasn't room for anybody else. But the food was tremendous food. It's called Chuck and Charlie's. So if you're ever in Tegucigalpa and you find yourself down the back alley road that Chuck and Charlie's is on, it's good. It's worth going there. I highly recommend it. And then for me, what was the most moving thing was going to the city hospital there in Tegucigalpa, and we went and passed out hygiene bags. And this was us waiting outside the hospital for them to let us in. We're actually waiting for some more people to come to go visit with us. And that's their records room. They don't have a computer in this hospital, so it's all the old school filing system. And so these are some of the rooms that we went into. We went to the children's ward. And so the bags that we passed out, the hygiene bags, they had toilet paper, toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, that kind of stuff. They're not given that in the hospital. They have to provide that for themselves. And these people are at the city hospital because they don't have money. They have private hospitals where that's where you and I would want to go. But this is just very, very difficult. And so we went to all the children's wards. The bags that you see Andrew and Micah carrying there, that's full of the hygiene bags that we were passing out. And we got to go to the different rooms and give the hygiene bags to the parents or to the children, pray with them. While we were there, there were some that were able to share the gospel with some of them, but very, very difficult. There was one young man, I don't think we have a picture of him. I actually got to pray with him. I got to pray with him, and then Brother Ryan was in another room talking to somebody, and he went in there after me and had a further conversation. He had met somebody from that village. He was a young man, I think 16 or 17 years old. His girlfriend was there with him, and she had kind of a blanket over her because they had been in a motorcycle accident, and her leg was amputated. His leg had been repaired, but then when they took the stitches out, they got infected, and the hospital said, "There's nothing more we can do for you here. You need to go to a private hospital." He didn't have money to go to a private hospital, and so he just wanted to go home and die, but he couldn't go home because he had an outstanding bill, and they won't let you leave until your bill is paid, and neither one of them had any family, and so they were both just there in the hospital together. Just a very, very difficult situation, and that's not a unique story. Their stories were like that just all the way through, just very heartbreaking. They're praying with little tiny babies in the cribs. That's a picture of the outside of the hospital, just not at all where we would want to be. They have an outdoor passageway between the different wings of the hospital, which is actually kind of nice. You can step outside and get some air, which you want to do. The windows are open because there's no air conditioning, so literally while we were in there visiting, there were pigeons that were flying in and like walking down the hallway, going into rooms and picking up little pieces of crumbs off the floor and stuff. Just very, very difficult conditions there. And there's a little baby that we were able to pray with the mom. The young lady standing there in the blue, her name was Mary Ann. She was my group's interpreter. She's the pastor's daughter there, and she was going and interpreting for us. And this is they call it kind of the triage hallway. We didn't take too close of a picture, but as you walk down this hallway, there was literally people with like open wounds and bloody bandages and mangled arms and limbs, just waiting for x-rays or scans or whatever. Just a difficult hallway to walk down, and they said it was actually kind of a slower day in the hallway. There wasn't as many serious incidents as what there oftentimes is. So that was our group, my group, and Andrew, me, my wife, Mary Ann, and then Maya, that's Brother Ryan and his wife Michelle's daughter. And so that was our group that we went. We broke up, I think, into 3 different groups to go and pray with the people, 3 or 4 different groups. Day 5, we went to the Tulip Pond, and that's what these baskets up here are from. And this is them, right? We stopped at the store for stacks on the way up. And then we stopped. That's just a stop place we stopped to get a picture on the way there. Just beautiful scenery. That's what really the whole country looks like if you get out of the cities. And put this picture in there to show you that even in Honduras they have John Deere tractors. And so this is one of the water crossings that we went through. And this is when the van broke down going through one of the water crossings. The air cleaner was kind of low and it hit a rock, and so it sucked water into the engine and died. And so we had to ride up in the truck, which I think that's us riding up in the truck, pulling up to the Tulip Pond. I almost fell off and died like 3 times. It was crazy because like literally there was about 10 of us in a think like short bed Ford Ranger. It was a Mitsubishi truck, but it was literally like a probably about a 4-foot bed, maybe a 4.5-foot bed, and there was 10 of us in that bed, and so we were just kind of piled in, hanging on for dear life, and the driver didn't slow down. So, anyways, we got there, and this is the where we went to, and not these. This is where these baskets came from. We did not get these baskets. I'll tell you the story of the baskets in a second. And so they come when they hear you coming. They come out. They know we're coming. And they line up with all their baskets that are on the side. And you have to understand that these baskets, this is the money that they make for the entire year. This is the only way that these folks have to make money. To say that they are poor is the most dramatic understatement ever. And so they stand there and they just look at you. And so you have to walk down and pick who you're going to buy from. And you can't buy from all of them. There's too many of them to buy from. And so, but the way we got these baskets, so I'll just tell you the story real quick. On the way back, the first year we went and bought the basket, we went to and saw the baskets and stuff. We were talking with Brother Nell. I was like, man, if we could get those back to the States, I know that people would buy them just because they're very nice, very well made. The prices are very, very reasonable that we can sell them for, and then the story behind them is incredible. And so, but it's just. When we were talking, we just weren't sure how to get them back. Well, on the way back from going to the Tulip Pond, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, man, because all we took was carry-ons. I'm like, we should have brought big suitcases, and we could have packed it up. We could have bought baskets, packed them up, brought them home, sold them, and helped fund Final Frontiers or fund Touch a Life or like fund a part of the ministry somehow through this. I'm like, I know we could do it. And so I went and talked to Brother Ryan about it. He's like, look, he said, last year we had a church come down, and the church planned, they took up offerings at their church, and they planned, and they bought every single basket that the ladies had out there for that week. And so they let all the ladies know ahead of time, they're coming, planning to buy everything you have. So make as much as you can, have as much of it here. And they did. Well, the church didn't take most of it home. And so it had been sitting in their storage room for a year. And he said, and I think we have extra suitcases. And so long story short, we were able to pack all this stuff up, get it back, and then we're gonna sell it here as we go to the different churches and different meetings and places where we're at. And then all of that money will go back to fund, like it's already helped these ladies and in the purchasing of it. And then the rest of the money now will go to completely fund Final Frontiers. Like we're not getting $1 from anything that's sold here. And so just a really neat opportunity. And then we'll see how this goes. And if it goes well, then we may try to explore getting stuff home on a more regular basis. And if we can find outlets, because again, just super awesome stuff. And so that's the Tulip Pond folk, just really sweet, really humble people. And this is my wife with a couple of the Tulip Pond ladies. And that's the Tulip Pond nose. That's what they call it, the Final Frontiers people, because they all of them have that same nose. They all have the same last name also. But anyways, that's another story for another time. That's all the ladies that came out, and then our group there, and just sweet, sweet people. And then that's us hooking up all the tow ropes to the van so that we could get it pulled back. They had to pull it back through several water crossings, and then we were able to get it started again, run it long enough to get to a place to change the oil, and then drive it the rest of the way back. So that was a day of adventures. And while this is where we were getting the oil changed, these donkeys, mules, whatever they were, they just walked by on the road. Nobody driving them, they just were walking together down the road. We stopped to eat pizza on the way home, and at a pizza place, and so that's the majority of our group, all of our group were there eating pizza. Day 6, we were supposed to go up to do a couple more schools, but because of the van problems, we were not able to go up into the mountains like we had planned. And so that's when we had kind of got everything figured out for the bags. And that's Andrew taking the missionaries, brother Ryan's son Mateo. And because of the food bags, we couldn't pull the baskets out, so he had to stick the little kid down in there and have him pick up the baskets because we couldn't reach them. And so that was the simplest and the funnest. And so that was that picture. Then my wife got to go with Mrs. Nelms to go visit this lady here. That's a picture of her bathroom. And that's a picture of the sidewalk walking up to her house there on the right. And she was, do you remember how old she was, babe? In her mid-90s, and no family to take care of her. And so Mrs. Nelms, when she's down in Honduras, will take her a plate of food every day or most every day, and just try to help her out. But again, no family to take care of her. They don't have Medicaid and Medicare and all the different things like we have now here to help take care of people, and so just a very difficult situation there. And again, that's not unique. That's very common. And matter of fact, what often happens in situations like that, because they don't have money, it's very rare for people to be that old, because often what happens is the older family members, once they get up in years, they stop eating. And literally they'll starve themselves to death so that the kids and the younger adults that can work can get a meal. And by a meal, typically they have one meal a day, some rice, maybe some beans, maybe some pasta, and a couple tortillas, just very little sustenance that they live on, again, in the villages and stuff. Day 6 was also in the afternoon. We did, there was a waterfall that we hiked to, pretty neat waterfall we were able to go to and do some swimming, and lots of fun there. And then that's also, we have it in the video we'll show later. We have a video of Mateo getting baptized, Brother Ryan's son. He'd been saved, but he was afraid of the water, didn't want to get baptized. But he and Jude had really made a connection that week, and so Brother Ryan practiced on Jude so that Mateo could see Jude get baptized. And then after that, Mateo did it, and so it was pretty cool to see him get baptized there. That was pretty special. Day 7, we went to Bartolo, and this is one of the feeding centers there. That's some of the kids, and that's the rice in the bowl, and a couple tortillas is what they eat for lunch. And that's them lined up to get their food. We got to actually pass the food out, help pass the food out here, and that was a lot of fun to see, and the kids eating their food. And then the boys had a rock throwing contest. It just kind of started. They all started throwing rocks, and I was just praying that nobody would walk by and get hit while they were throwing rocks. And that was pretty neat. And also Bartolo, this village just got running water just before we came. And so never had they had running water, and I know Touch of Life was instrumental in helping get that running water to them. Again, some more pictures. And then on the way back, we stopped by this tree. These pictures do not do it justice. This tree was massively huge. Brother Ryan's convinced it's been around since the flood. I don't know if it's that old, but it's got to be pretty close. It's the biggest tree I've ever seen. I haven't seen the California redwoods, but it's a massive, massive tree. And so I thought that was pretty neat. Day 7 was dinner. The day ended with dinner with the tourism police. These folks, anytime we went someplace that even could possibly be dangerous, they traveled with us to make sure that we were safe. That's their complete job. And so it was fun to get to spend some time with them. That's pictures of different ones of us with them. This is the meal that we had that night, and the ladies getting that prepared and ready. Day 7 finished off with the Grand Prix, and I'll let maybe some of the other people in their stories tell about the Grand Prix. I wondered why they called it Grand Prix until we went on it, and I almost died, and then I understood, like, it was insane. The craziest thing I've ever done in my entire life, I'm pretty sure. And that's what we rode around in, those little tuk-tuks, they're called. And the guys that drive those things are absolutely insane. We were going screaming down the road, screaming down alleyways. They were cutting each other off. Like I felt like I was in a NASCAR race. Somehow they never made contact with each other. They never hit anybody. I don't know how we survived or how anybody else survived, but it was a lot of fun. And so we enjoyed that. There's some video of that at the end of the video also. And so that's different. Some of the drivers and different things there with the tuk-tuks. And that's the Cantarana sign. And day 8 headed home. That's the brother Ryan and his wife Michelle Cillier. And they're the ones that are heading up the ministry down there now. That's Marvin, one of our drivers. That dude is absolutely insane. And at the airport, that's our baggage getting back. That's the basket that we weren't sure was going to make it, and praise the Lord, it made it. And then just some pictures from around the compound. Jude and some of the kids had fun hunting lizards all week, or whatever those things are. And just some pictures with some of the girls, some of the kids, and sitting around there fellowshipping. That's some of my favorite times there, is just the fun we get to have sitting on the covered patio there, talking with Brother Nelms and just learning about different things in the ministry, different things going on around the world. Just an awesome, awesome time. And where you have boys, there will be wrestling. And so there was that. And that's Jude and one of the Honduran boys doing their secret handshake or whatever it was. That's an incredible thing that I don't know how they did that, but that's pretty cool. Riding on a dirt bike, Cantarana sign, and that's it. So that was the week in a nutshell. Brother Nathan, come on up. While he's coming, if the rest of you would make your way up to the front. And so after Brother Nathan, it'll be Micah, then Andrew, then Jude, then Mrs. Kim Peterson, and then my wife will finish up the testimony time. Please do try to keep your testimonies short so that we can sort of get out on time.
Well, there's so much to say. A lot was said in the thing. It was a blast. If you never have gone, it's worth going. It's just fun. And the Honduras driving is nothing like anything around here. You will experience Honduras driving. If you get motion sickness, I told my wife, I says, you need to take motion sickness pills because it's an experience in and of itself. Double yellow lines, hills, and all that stuff mean nothing. You can pass anywhere, anytime, and they'll make it from a 2-lane highway to a 3. It was a lot of fun, and really enjoyed me and Brother Nelms. I love Brother Nelms. I'm the crazy brother, but I got a new nickname while I was down there from him. I told the story when I was little that I never walked. I scooted on my butt and did it, so now my nickname is Scooter. And so if he comes and says Scooter and everything, but we had a lot of fun while I was down there and joked around. We had a lot of fun. The hospital, it breaks your heart. Little kids in there. I went to one where the little kid was in there, and he'd been in there for 9 months and looking to do something with with his bowels. And they were hoping in September the specialist could make it in, but they had been there almost a year with the little baby, the mom and dad, and it was just heartbreaking. Wonderful parents, and just sad. It was really sad. The food was really good. Honduran food is really good. My wife loves the Honduran coffee, so made her believer in her. She says next time I go, I have to take a whole suitcase just for coffee. And so the coffee's good if you're a coffee drinker. I got to preach, and preacher was right. Preaching is different when you're in Honduras, because I'd get going and I'd be like, oh, I got to stop. He's got to repeat this. And so I get going and I'd forget, but it was interesting. It was fun. And preacher was being nice about how well I did. So anyways, but it was a lot of fun. And then probably one of my favorite moments there was when we were sitting out on the deck in those rocking chairs. We got to talk to Ryan and Michelle, and they kind of gave their testimonies. And come to find out, Michelle, when she was about 4th or 5th grade, was a bus kid. She got picked up on a bus. Some bus captain stopped by, knocked on her door, and invited her to church. She went to church for a while, and I think she got saved, and then she ended up dropping out after a little bit and got away from God. And eventually, long story short, now she's in Ghana, or not Ghana, Honduras, wherever, across the world, they're teaching. And it was just an encouragement to me You don't know what's going to happen with the kids that we pick up. You don't know where they're going to end up. And now her and her family are down there doing a great work and doing a lot of fun. The tuk-tuk thing, I'll give you the story behind the tuk-tuk because I'm sure these guys are going to. I kind of started the whole thing. So Ryan and Marvin was the guy that was the crazy driver that you saw. And so they had to go out one day. And so I rode out with them. They were going to pay for the food bags that we were getting. So we rode out in one of the tuk-tuks. And so I went with them. So we were out there and driving. And I kind of got to know Marvin. He didn't know English and I don't know Spanish. So we got to talking. So I kind of told him, because this is a 3-wheel thing. And I've ridden 4-wheelers and stuff. I said, dos. And so I wanted him to put it up on 2 wheels. And so I says, come on, do it. And Ryan's like, no. And so the whole ride there, we didn't do nothing. The ride back, Ryan turned to me and looked at me and he says, we just missed the turn we were supposed to go on. I says, what do you mean? He says, he's supposed to turn back to go back to the compound. And so we went a little further and he ended up, he took that thing and he got it up on 2 wheels and rode it for a little while. So it was a lot of fun. So all week long it was dos. And it was just a lot of fun. And on the ride, hopefully in the video, did you get a part of that? Okay, there might be a little section of it where they did it. And so got to ride with him. And Ryan told me, he says, you're riding with Marvin on the race night. And so I got to ride with him and then the guys got to ride with him. It was a lot of fun, but it was enjoyable. And then meeting that 86-year-old man was pretty cool, but it was a lot of fun. It's heartbreaking, but it's also exciting to see the kids. They love coming to see you. There's one, when we first got there, he was teaching me the handshake. He was teaching it to me. And it's amazing how, even though there's a language barrier, they still find ways to talk with you. And I had a blast. I was going down the slide and being a little kid myself. But if you ever get to go on a missions trip, if you get to go to Honduras and can do that, I promise you it's worth it. It's heartbreaking. It makes you very thankful for what we got here in America. And so that's what I'll say. I'll leave the rest up to everybody else.
Yeah, so it was tons of fun. The food was amazing. I loved every bite. And yeah, the Grand Prix was really fun, getting to ride with Marvin, going on 2 wheels. That was a lot of fun. Riding down narrow alleys and taking it on 2 wheels on turns and stuff. And it was definitely a lot of fun. And it was definitely heartbreaking too, seeing how poor they are. It definitely makes you thankful. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I think the thing that was the most fun to me was probably the Grand Prix, but a close second was the ride up to the Tulipan. It's people pay to go to off-roading places. Well, you don't have to pay for it to go down there. You just drive down any of the back roads. The food was amazing. If you ever get a chance to go on a mission trip, you definitely should to Honduras. It's a lot of fun.
It was really, really fun. The what really made a difference in my life was the fact that it's one thing when you're thinking about it here, but it's a whole another story when you're there. When you're there, it's just like it breaks your heart when you see what the poor people actually have to deal with, and it's not for just a short time. Like when we had the power outages, it's the whole time. The fun things that I did, well, I'm going to start off with at the end of the mission strip, I wanted to get a picture with one of them, and they move the vehicles around all the time in the compound. So I got it. I wanted to go get a picture with one of them. I thought they were just moving it in the compound. Well, he was actually going to drop off someone. It was in the middle of the night. I took my mom's phone so I could go get a picture. And Andrew noticed, hey, as we drove by, Andrew noticed, hey, your phone was in there. Mom was like, oh, where's Jude? He has my phone. And so anyways, I had to figure out Google Translate to find out where exactly they were going. I finally found out that they were just going to drop off someone really close. My heart was racing like a jackhammer. It was scary but funny. And really, yeah, if you ever can get a chance, you need to do it.
I was the old one in the group. But mature one. Oh, mature. Thank you. But it was really good. If you ever have the opportunity, you should do it. Just to see the kids' faces and the way they light up, and just the poorness, but they're happy. These kids are happy. They're not, they don't know any different. So it's good. It was a good experience, and I would hope that everyone does it.
I'm so glad that Miss Kim went because I'm usually the older one in the group since I'm older than my husband. It was nice not being the oldest, but it was a lot of fun. This is our third time going, and getting back there, you kind of feel like you're back at home, a weird sense, because you've been there before and seeing some of the same people that are still, going to the churches and just seeing their sweet faces. And again, this week, I was reminded how blessed we are when, we lose power for a few hours. It feels like we're dying. And we went in the cool season, and it was, mid 80s, 90s, and 80% humidity, and I don't even know what it's like down there in the hot season. And they don't, they live with such meager means and such meager resources available, but they are just the humblest people. It's hard getting selfies with them, taking pictures. I learned selfie, I had a little bit better response than if I would just ask to take a picture of them, because they're just so humble. But if they, pick up on something you enjoy or you like, they will just completely cater to you. And it's just a humbling experience to get to spend time with them and just see how they serve the Lord with gladness, because they don't have anything that we have to, do it with ease or with convenience. And to see people walking to church, some of those people are walking for a long time before they get to the service, and then they're going to walk back home, for a long time to get home, and they're happy to do it. And it's just such a humbling experience. And then it was a huge privilege, and we appreciate everybody that helped and that prayed for our whole family to get to go. That was such a neat experience, because, you can never share what it's like to be there. You can tell the stories but it's not the same. And just getting to share all of those memories with our family was something I know we'll appreciate forever. Even the night that we thought we lost Jude to can't ran us forever.
Before we show the video, the rest of that story, or the other side of that story, is we're sitting there all talking, and I saw Jude go get in the tuk-tuk, and I saw the tuk-tuk leave, and pretty soon I'm like, I don't see Jude. And like he said, he was my 10-year-old son, and two Honduras guys that only speak Spanish, and he only speaks English. And I knew that they would be eventually coming back, but it's 10:15 at night, pitch dark everywhere, and I don't know where he is. I have no way to get a hold of him, and I have no idea when he's coming back. And so he says his heart was pounding like a jackhammer. My heart was pounding like a jackhammer, and so. But it was a good learning experience for all of us, and but it was just it's a fun story to be able to tell now because everything was okay. And so we'll show you the video. The video is just a bunch of video clips. And then when the video is over, I'll come back and speak for a few minutes.
Sale del barco
and starts to walk on the water.
y comienza a caminar sobre el agua a Jesús.
But then he sees the waves,
Después él ve las olas
and they're all around him,
y estaban a todo alrededor de él
and he's afraid.
y le dio miedo.
Yeah! There you go. There you go. Mateo. And he loves sinners.
Y él ama a los pecadores.
He loves each and every one of you.
Él lo ama a todos ustedes.
And you know what? He wants the best thing for
Y
you.
usted sabe que él tiene lo mejor para ustedes.
Él pagó su pasaje para poder viajar hacia Tarsis.
It literally would have been the most expensive passage he could have purchased.
Literalmente, ese era el pasaje más caro que se podía comprar.
We ask that you would give them peace and comfort,
Te pedimos que seas tú dándoles paz y dándoles fortaleza,
and that you would pour out your love
y que seas tú derramando tu amor
in very real ways.
en muchas maneras.
Thank you for today. Gracias por eso. Thank you for allowing our path to cross with Isaac.
Gracias por permitirnos conocer a Isaac.
Please heal his body.
Oramos que sane su cuerpo
Through the doctor's wisdom.
y ayude a los médicos.
And help them to get out soon.
También ayude para que pronto pueda regresar a casa.
Amen.
Romanos 19. Si confesares con tu boca que Jesús es el Señor y creyeres en tu corazón que Dios le levantó.
Yo también le quiero mucho. Que Dios me la pesca sana y feliz. Y que me le dé 1000 años de vida. Oye.
¿Le destapo la comida? ¿Va a comer?
Sí, échame la tacita.
Cabeza, hombros, cabeza, hombros, tobillo, cabeza, hombros, codos, cabeza, hombros, codos, cabeza, hombros, codos, dulce. Welcome to this place. A lot of people say that Bartolo is a very beautiful place. He said everybody that comes to Bartolo love to come to Bartolo. And better now that we have water now, so now we can take a shower whenever we want. It's a great blessing.
Lord, we thank you for today.
Padre, te damos gracias por este día.
And I thank you for the privilege of meeting this dear lady and her son Leo.
Te damos gracias por la oportunidad de conocer a esa mujer y a su hijo Liam.
Lord, we ask that you would give strength to them both.
Padre, te pedimos que seas tú dándoles fortaleza a ambos.
Give the doctors wisdom
Que seas tú dándole sabiduría a los doctores
on how to best help Leah.
o en cómo poder ayudar de la mejor manera al día.
Todos lo saben, ¿ves? Todos lo sabemos. Andando a la orilla del mar, cuando lo llegan a ver, vienen por cazaron todo. Andando a la orilla del mar, cuando lo llegan a ver, vienen por cazaron todo. De Dios, poderoso, no hay cosa que no pueda hacer. Contra mi Dios, poderoso, no hay cosa que no pueda hacer. Los ríos también, los mares también, el sol resplandece sobre él.
Oh, Mom. We're like out of the parking lot. Halfway down the hill. There you go. Oh!
All right, you can see there at the end the Grand Prix tuk-tuk rides. And I will tell you that my wife and Miss Kim wound up in the tamest of the tuk-tuks. And theirs was the calm one. There wasn't really a calm one, but of them, it was the safest. But it was insane. And so I could go on for hours talking about the trip and different things about the trip and hearing the different testimonies and looking at the pictures and watching the videos just brings more and more memories flooding back. And so I just want to take just a couple minutes here and share some thoughts with you. If you have your Bible, go to Psalm chapter 37. Psalm 37. I'm going to read a couple verses for you here from Psalm 37 and just share a couple thoughts. I'm going to read verses 4 and 5. The Bible says this: Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And as I was thinking about what to speak about tonight, I debated on whether to take the few minutes I would have and go back to Jonah or just where I would go. And the Lord brought these verses to my mind and to my heart. And I just want to talk to you just for a few minutes about taking the opportunity to go on a missions trip if you ever get the opportunity to go. I don't know how to put into words the experience that it is. You just have to do it. And so I guess what I want to address tonight is some of the excuses that we use. A lot of times we say we're too busy, and I understand that. It's not easy to schedule that in, and one of the big ones is the cost. It's not cheap. This is for a missions trip. This is a very cheap missions trip. I would guess it was probably in the neighborhood of $1,400 or $1,500 to go on this trip. before, so it may have been a little bit cheaper this time because we were able to get pretty cheap flights. But right around that $1,400 price range for a week. That included everything except snacks and souvenirs. And so that took care of our food, that took care of our lodging, that was our flights down there. All of that stuff was included in that. And so it's again, for that kind of a trip where you're traveling in that way, that's a very economical trip. They get more, you can go on more expensive ones than that. But oftentimes you say, man, I don't have the money. And can I just tell you that there has never been a missions trip that I've gone on, that my family has gone on, that we had the money to go. I'm just being honest with you. Now, for me as a pastor, my way has I think most of the trips that I've been on have been paid for by the church, and I'm very thankful for that. It gives me the opportunity to go and to do that. But the very first one I went on before I was a pastor, to Ghana, Africa, I didn't have the money to go, and God miraculously provided for that to happen. The first time we went to Honduras, we didn't have money for my wife to go, but I wanted her to go with me, and the Lord provided in many ways, including helping us to see a post on Facebook of somebody that was giving away a garage full of furniture. We went, picked up that furniture, and we were able to sell it, and that provided the majority of the expenses for her to go the first time. I don't remember what God did the last time that we went, but God provided then. When Micah was going to go with me to Argentina, he worked and saved. I told all three of my boys, I said, you guys have to pay, and you have to go on one trip, and you have to pay for it. And so Andrew did his to Honduras in 23. Micah went last year with me to Argentina, and Jude still has to do his. And I told him this one doesn't count, and he still has to pay for one and go on one when he gets a little bit older. I don't think that's going to be a problem. He had such a good time. But when Micah went to go, he had worked and saved and did everything he could, and he was several $100s short, and the Lord miraculously provided that for him so that he could go this time. And I wanted to take my whole family. My wife and I were talking. We realized like this was kind of maybe our last opportunity to do that as a family. Andrew's getting ready to graduate and move on, and I wanted to do one trip together as a family. And so we prayed about it, and through just the incredible provision of God, we did work pretty hard on some fundraising stuff. But then there was some people that just very generously gave to allow my family to go, and it was just a tremendous blessing. And so, why do I tell you that? Not to say this. If you'll delight yourself in the Lord, He'll give you the desires of your heart. I think that means both that I think first and foremost what it means is that He's going to change your desires. He's going to line up your desires with His desires. But can I tell you that there's nobody that has a greater desire for the world to be reached with the gospel and for people to get a vision for world missions than God does? And so I believe that God's desire would be for most people that are able to go on a trip. I can't tell you what God's will is for your life. I would never pretend to do that. I will say this. I think if you ever get the opportunity, you need to go. And then I love verse number 5, and that's one I wanted to focus on. Commit thy way into the Lord, trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. And listen to me, if it is God's will for your life, and here's what I would encourage you to do. Pray about if God would have you go on a trip. If you believe that God would have you to go, then just commit. I'm going to do it. God, I'm going to make it happen. You're going to have to make it happen. And Lord, if you would do this, I want to go. I want to be a part. And can I just say this? If you think you might ever go on a missions trip, go soon and go get a passport. You can't go without a passport. And so just go, and it's like $100, give or take, to get your passport. So it's not expensive. So go get your passport, because that is key number one. The most important thing in going on a missions trip is you have to have a passport. You literally can't go without one. I know that money is like 1A. You have to have money. And but God, He can help you get a passport, but you're gonna have to choose to go get that passport. And so go do it. Go get your passport. And if you don't have one, you ought to get one. And it's a great identification tool. And also, you need one to go on a missions trip. So go get your passport. And then just as we do trips in the future, ask the Lord, Lord, would you make it clear which one I need to go on? And then provide. And then just when the Lord shows you what trip you need to go on, then just commit to go and trust the Lord. And do everything that you can do. And then if it's God's will for you to go, I promise you He's going to make it happen. I promise you He will. That's why I tell you that literally every trip that my family has ever been on, there has been somebody that should not have been on that trip because we couldn't afford it. The money wasn't there. And God provided, whether it was through extra work, through fundraisers, through people giving, through providing us a garage full of furniture that we could go pick up and haul back and sell. Like, God will provide. I promise you He will. And by the way, that's true across the board in our lives, not just for a missions trip. If it's what God wants you to do, commit thy way into the Lord. Just say, God, I believe this is what you want me to do, so I'm going to do it. Trust also in Him. Step out in faith, and He shall bring it to pass. It wasn't Caleb Hon that made it possible for my family to go on this trip. It was God. He brought it to pass. And our lives are forever changed. You can't go on a trip like this and it not change you. It will change you. And so I don't know what trip it is that God would have you to go on. And I realize that maybe for some of you, there may be reasons why it's not wise. I do understand that. But if you're physically capable of going on a trip, you need to go on. It will change your life. It's a completely different perspective. I know this. Every one of my boys that has gone on a trip, when they've come back, their perspective of what we have in America, their thankfulness, all of that has changed. Because when you see what, and it was mentioned by a couple of people, but it's incredible to me. And listen, I know they're people, and I know they have bad days, and I'm sure we're seeing, we're the Americans, and so they're trying to put their best foot forward for us. I understand all those things. But they truly are. If you just watch them, they're the Christian folks. They have joy. They're incredibly loving, humble, kind. It's amazing. And I know they've got bad apples down there, just like we have bad apples here. But it's incredible how content they are with how little they have. And how discontent we are with how much we have. It's a complete perspective shift. It gives you a heart for getting the gospel to the world. It helps you see, listen, we're used to going and knocking on doors. And even in this area, this is one of the kinder, nicer areas that I've knocked on. In this area here, when I knock on doors and I pass out gospel tracts, invite people to church, whatever, when they say no, for the most part, they kindly say no. I've not had too many people be total jerks to me here in the DeMott area. But the reception, they're not super receptive to the gospel, to tracts, to that kind of thing. When you go to Honduras, when we went in Suyapa and we got to go door knocking, and I say door knocking, I don't think we ever knocked on a door. We went visiting, handing out tracts to people on the street. Their houses are kind of open, and so you kind of have to get permission to go into the property, which is interesting when you don't really speak much of the language. But I had a lot of fun learning a little bit more Spanish and using the little bit of Spanish that I did know, but going through and just passing out tracts and inviting them out to the church service and seeing some of the people that we invited come to the service. Like it was just an incredibly moving thing. And so my challenge to you tonight simply is this. Make a plan to go on a trip. Just decide tonight, Lord, if you'll open the door, I'll go on a trip. And I'm praying about what the trip is going to be next year. I'm waiting to hear. There's a chance we might be going on a trip to Spain with Wingsbury and Precious Seed. I'm still waiting to hear when that trip is and the cost and all of those things. There's always the opportunity to go to Honduras, and so that will be a regular a trip that we'll take. And so lots of opportunities coming in the future. And you say, well, listen, you're just going to have to build it into your schedule to go. And I know if you have little kids, that it's not, you're not going to take little kids on a mission trip. I know that. And but hey, when you get a little bit older, if you listen, let me just challenge you, parents that are raising kids. Let me highly recommend to you that you require of them to do a missions trip. Just start telling them now, listen, when you get into high school, you have to go on a trip. And that's what I started doing with my boys. When they started hitting about 7, 8, 9, I started prepping them. I said, listen, when you hit high school, you have to go on a trip and you have to pay for it. And I want them to do that. I want them to get the full experience of it. And if you want to help them, if you say you pay half and I pay half or whatever, I'm just old school, mean, and my boys have a lot of opportunity to work that a lot of other kids don't necessarily get, and so I tell them you have to pay for it yourself. And get your kids to go on a trip. If you're able to go on a trip. Commit thy way into the Lord, trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. And it applies to a lot of other things, but I promise you, if you feel like God's leading you to go on a trip, I promise you He'll make a way. He will provide. Lord, thank you for tonight and for these folks that are here. Thank you for your love for us. Thank you for the privilege I've had to go on several trips. Thank you that my family was able to go on the trip this time. And as a family, what a blessing that was. Lord, I'm thankful for those who sacrificed and gave and made it possible that my boys and my wife and I could all go together. Lord, thank you for this church. And Lord, the heart that they have to provide for me as a pastor to go on the trips. And Lord, I'm so thankful for that, and I don't ever want to take that for granted. Lord, I'm thankful for all those that went on the trip, for the ministry doors that you opened, for what you taught us, for what we learned. Lord, I know that none of us are the same, and I pray that we would never forget the impact that it had. Lord, I pray that you would open doors for these folks to be able to go on a trip. Lord, move and work in their hearts. And Lord, open those doors, and I pray that you would provide as only you can. Lord, we look forward to what you have for us, and we sure do love you. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm not going to do an invitation tonight, but let me just challenge you. If God is pricking your heart to go, then just right now, just take a second and say, Lord, I'm surrendering to you. I'm going to go on a trip. And so, Lord, show me which one. But Lord, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to commit my way to you. I'm going to trust you. And God, I'm going to look for you to bring it to pass in my life. And you'll never be the same. It'll make such a difference in your life. Let me run through some quick announcements. And ushers, if you get ready to take up the offering for tonight. Right after the service, we will move this table down here so you can come look. The little stuff on this end, it starts at $5. The stuff towards the very end there is $25. It's all kind of grouped by price. We do have more than what's up here on the table, but this is a good selection of what we have. The basket on the end, that giant basket there, that's going to be $125. It's incredible. But that basket is full of other baskets, and so if you want to look in there and look through, we wanted to give you guys the first opportunity to look at this stuff, to purchase this stuff before we start going. Again, if you just want to come look and don't buy, no pressure at all. If you don't buy anything, that's fine. If you want to buy some stuff, we would want you to have the opportunity at least to look at it and to make purchase if you desire. Again, every dollar from the sale of these goes back into Final Frontiers to Touch a Life, all of it to support the ministry there. This week, Tuesday, is the ladies' meeting, 6 o'clock. Saturday, we've got soul winning at 10:45. Next Sunday night, Brother Nathan's going to be preaching. My family and I were going to Ohio to present Final Frontiers at a church, and so we'd appreciate your prayers for that. And next Sunday is a Perion service, also Sunday afternoon. And then the 30th, which is 2 weeks from tonight, tonight we have our 5th Sunday night singing food fellowship. And then don't forget, ladies, if you're interested in being part of Dar's Bible study and you did not get the sheet about it this morning, there's still some on the table that give the information for the Bible study, or you can talk to her. She can give you the information And but that's going to be starting up in September, and we'll get that all put out in the bulletin and on the slides and all that kind of stuff, since you see that coming like all of the other stuff. Ushers, if you would go ahead and come forward to take up the offering for this evening. Thank you for your faithfulness to give. We sure do appreciate it. Brother Charlie, would you pray for the offering, please?
Lord, Heavenly Father, we just praise you, Lord. We thank you for what you've done.
Amen. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and I sure do appreciate it. So tonight after the service, there's been a planned surprise birthday party for my wife. And so I hope you'll be able to stay and be a part of that. And we'd love for you to be a part. And thank you to those of you that planned that. It means a lot to me when you love on my family and you love on my wife. And so thank you for doing that. We will have the baskets up here if you would like to come look at them. And there's not just baskets. There's little turtles. There's little hat-looking things. There's all kinds of stuff. There's some airplanes. And so just some really neat stuff. Feel free to come look at it. Even if you don't want to buy it, it's still fun to look at. If you want to purchase it, we'd be happy to do that. And we'll close in a word of prayer. And Brother Nate, Brother Bud, would you close us in prayer and also pray for the food as well?
The Lord has clearly called us to boldly take His cross. listen to